You're listening to the Telltale channel. Don't forget to check me out on all social media: Patreon, Twitter, Teespring, and Etsy. All links can be found in the description or on my website, telltaleatheist.com. So the next article I want to take a look at is entitled, "In West Virginia, 75 new COVID cases traced back to 7 churches." This is by Hemant Mehta on the Friendly Atheist website. And before we actually start reading it, I just want to mention, obviously, I live in West Virginia. I don't like to say I'm from West Virginia because I was not born here. I didn't live here my whole life. I try not to claim West Virginia as mine because I'm a little bit embarrassed by it sometimes, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. I live in West Virginia, and 75 new cases traced back to 7 churches. So let's give the article a read and see what it says. West Virginia is struggling to deal with COVID, and the latest outbreaks are coming directly from churches that decided to gather in person without taking proper precautions. About 75 recent cases have been traced back to 7 churches. Here's a quote. "At least 48 people had tested positive for the coronavirus by Monday afternoon, all of whom were linked to the North Charleston Apostolic Church in Kanawha County." Charleston, West Virginia is the capital. It's like right in the center of the state, except it's a little bit further to the west. It's like west of center, basically. And it is one of the bigger cities in West Virginia. I think the biggest cities in order, I believe, are Charleston, and then Huntington, and then Morgantown. And I think Charleston and Huntington are pretty close to each other. So I have to imagine if Charleston is dealing with like some serious idiots spreading the virus intentionally like this, Huntington's probably going to see some spillover from that. Let's continue reading. This is back to a quote. "In Taylor County, Public Information Officer Sean Thorne said the 4 local cases were linked to a weekly Bible study for adults. According to Thorne, the church volunteered to close for 2 weeks without requests from the county health department." Okay, that's a plus. Julie Miller, the Boone County Health Department administrator, said 4 of the 8 cases from her county's church are Boone County residents who were involved in a 3-day vacation Bible school for children. I'm not sure where Boone County is specifically. The church volunteering to close for 2 weeks without requests from the county health department, that's too little and too late, honestly. They shouldn't have been open in the first fucking place. There's a worldwide pandemic going on right now with hundreds of thousands of people dead and possibly millions more to go. And these people are just going to church like everything's normal instead of holding it online. Is it because they're stupid? Is that why? Are they too stupid to figure out the internet thing? Is it too complicated for them? Is that why they don't want to do the Zoom meetings? Is that why it is? All they can really figure out is how to get in their car and drive their way to church. They can't figure out that complicated internet thing. Is that what it is? Honestly, I've been really surprised by West Virginia up until now. The officials here and the colleges in my area have been on point. Impressive response from the colleges and everything, from the schools. The officials here have truly impressed me with how they have responded. West Virginia and Nebraska got their same first case on the same day. And Nebraska is doing significantly worse than West Virginia right now. Granted, that's probably partly because West Virginia is a lot more sparsely populated. There aren't as many people packed in tiny little areas as there are in Nebraska, surprisingly. But either way, I really like West Virginia's response. They've done a fantastic job, truly fantastic job. The people, on the other hand, are just too stupid to save themselves sometimes. It kills me. I hear people running around West Virginia saying the South will rise again all the time. Do they not realize that they weren't part of the South? Like, do they not realize that West Virginia split off from Virginia specifically because it wanted to be part of the North? They must not realize that, or they would just bury their head in shame for the embarrassment over saying something so stupid in this area. The people just drive me insane here. Good for the officials in West Virginia. They're really doing a good job. The people are dumb as dog shit. Let's continue reading. This is Hemant Mehta speaking. For the past 2 weeks, the state has had a face mask requirement for indoor gatherings when social distancing isn't possible, which is quite the loophole for anyone who wants to exploit it. But West Virginia Public Broadcasting says that there's no indication that Republican Governor Jim Justice's executive order applies to churches. One county administrator said it doesn't. It's not that these are the only COVID outbreaks in the state, but it's an example of a preventable reason for an outbreak. These churches did not need to meet in person. They chose to. And because of the irresponsible decision of church leaders, more people will suffer. I agree. Strangely, there is some popularity for Democrats in this state. Joe Manchin was our governor before Jim Justice, and he was a Democrat. And then Joe Manchin ran for Senate, and he won. Joe Manchin is now one of our senators. I believe the other senator is Shelley Moore Capito, and she's a Republican. But anyways, Joe Manchin is a Democrat senator. Jim Justice ran as a Democrat in 2016 for governor and won as a Democrat. Got all of the union votes and everything like that, and then flipped parties afterward. He was like, basically immediately after winning the governorship, he came out and said the Republican Party is the party for him. He loves Trump, and the Democrats left him behind, and blah, 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 all this other shit. So, I don't know. He's said some really stupid shit lately. But he does the right things, or has been doing the right things up until now, so... Except I'd really like to see a full-blown mask mandate, and I'd like to see that loophole closed. Either way, like I said, West Virginia's officials seem to be doing a so-so job. The people are dumb as dog shit.